Over the past year, I have audited over 50 accounts, spending anywhere from 10k a month all the way up to 50k a month. I also have the privilege of working with 7- and 8-figure brands in the United States, helping them scale with paid media and email marketing. In this video, I'll share common mistakes I see e-com brands do that prevent them from scaling, and what we do with our clients to continuously grow year over year. One of the biggest mistakes that I see businesses do is focus way too much on ROAS. Your main focus should be acquiring new customers. Yes, ROAS is important, but not as much as new customers. Growth starts with new customers. You cannot scale your brand if you're not constantly bringing new buyers. Every new customer expands your revenue ceiling and sets the foundation for long-term growth, referrals, and repeat purchases. Also, your retention funnel depends on it. Email flows, SMS campaigns, and loyalty programs, they all rely on having new people to talk to. Without fresh acquisition, your retention will go down, no matter how good your emails and SMS are. Another benefit of focusing on new customer acquisition is that it future-proofs the business. Market shifts, products lose steam, and ad platforms evolve. A strong acquisition engine ensures you're constantly testing and learning, rather than depending on a small pool of existing buyers. And the more people experience your brand and talk about it, the more likely you're to spark organic growth. Referrals, user-generated content, word of mouth, all of these things come from growing your customer base. And the first step to start focusing on new customers is to start excluding them from your advertising campaigns. You should also tailor your messaging towards new customers and spend less on retargeting. The way we do it with our clients is we focus Meta on acquiring new customers. Google is kind of in between. We're trying to focus on new customers and existing ones as well. And email marketing and SMS marketing is predominantly existing customers. That's why I highly recommend to you to spend 80 to 90% of your budget towards Meta and then 10 to 20 on Google and the rest of the platforms. And this brings me to my next point. You need to know your metrics. You can't scale what you don't measure. You need to know your new customer acquisition cost. You need to know your first order profitability and your break-even and blended ROAS. If you don't know your numbers, you're flying blind. Knowing your metrics gives you the clarity to know when to scale, when you need to reduce the budget, where you need to shift your focus on, and it's gonna make you more confident in making those decisions. New customer acquisition cost is basically how much it costs you to acquire a new customer. This will always be higher than your normal CPA. And what the new customer acquisition cost is gonna show you, if it's too high, you might be burning cash. And then if it's too low, you are leaving money on the table and you need to scale. Knowing your new customer acquisition cost will give you that sweet spot of aggressive growth and sustainable profit. Next, we have blended ROAS. Blended ROAS will basically show you how efficient you are with your marketing budget. And blended ROAS is basically all of the money you have spent on marketing versus your top line revenue. So let's say you have spent 170,000 on Meta, 20,000 on Google, and 10,000 on TikTok, and your top line revenue is $1 million. So 1 million divided by 200,000, that will give you 5 blended ROAS. Next, we have first order profitability. You need to know if you're profitable on the first order that people make. If you are, you can then scale aggressively because you know those people will most likely come back and buy within 30, 60, 90 days. It really depends on the type of business. When businesses get to 7 and 8 figures and above, you'll notice that most of them are focusing just to break even or at least be a little profitable on the first order because they know with the repeat purchases, people will come back. So if they're profitable, they scale very, very aggressively. So again, if you are first order profitable, don't worry, you can scale. This is one of the clearest signs that you can scale. Another mistake I see e-com brands do is that they invest way too much on Google and not enough on Meta and TikTok. Depending on the business that you're in, Google will not be the best acquisition platform for you. We obviously use Google, but 80% of our budget is spent towards Meta because that is where you can acquire the most customers. Google is very good at showing you good numbers because most people convert from there, but Meta is the platform that drives the majority of the traffic to Google, the majority of the new customers, and the majority of the orders. And you can obviously test this by shifting 10% of the budget from Google towards Meta, for example, every 2 weeks, and you'll see the difference in new customer growth and in orders. We recently started working with an 8-figure brand, and when we took over the accounts, the previous agency was spending 60% on Google and 40% on Meta. Google was showing way better results than Meta. That was their reasoning of spending more there. But as I told you, Google is really good at showing you good numbers where Meta is not. Just by shifting budget from Google to Meta, we increased their new customers by 50% the next month. And this is, we're talking about an 8-figure brand. We're not talking about a business that is generating 50K a month. So your main efforts should be towards Meta. But again, it really depends the type of business you're in, but for most businesses, Meta is gonna be your platform. Which brings me to my next point, is that you need to deploy a ton of creatives on Meta. The amount of creatives you deploy on Meta and the testing that you're doing is tied to your success on Meta. Creatives is the number one lever that you can pull on Meta, because your creative does the heavy lifting. It's what stops the scroll, it's what grabs the attention, and it's what makes people click on it, get to your website and buy. Meta's ad algorithm performs best when you give them a ton of options. Feeding 1 to 2 creatives is really gonna limit your learnings and is gonna prevent you from scaling. I always try to give at least 6 to 10 different creatives in every single ad set, because it's gonna give more options for Meta to optimize. Also, by continuously testing new creatives, you'll know what's working, and it's gonna be a lot easier for you to scale, so you don't need to guess what your customers like. Top brands win with volume. Our biggest clients deploy the most creatives, and this is what it separates them apart from the businesses that do 6 and 7 figures a year. The more creatives we have, the easier it is for us to make decisions, the easier it is for us to find what's working, and the easier it is for us to scale. I hope you find value in this video, and yeah, that's about it. These are some of the most common mistakes that I see ecom brands do. If you run an ecom brand and you're struggling to scale, you're struggling to reduce your new customer acquisition cost and improve your blended ROAS, there's gonna be a link for you in the description below. Book a call with me and we'll help you fix that. And yeah, until next time, thank you.